Hello, everyone. This is the Crimson Cure, welcoming you to the Crimson Tower, a place where we keep a feminine foot on the neck of the gynocracy, feminism, and black male misandry. So go ahead, pull up a chair, stay a while, and listen.
We're A-Game, a 100% Black-owned company with an all-natural product and world-class customer service. We're headquartered in California, and we manufacture, package, and ship right here in the United States. We ship to more than 125 distributors worldwide. Normal processing is 2 to 3 days, and we employ virtual tracking until our product is received. So, no matter where you are in the world, here we come, and we're bringing your A-game.
Hey there, my Crimsonites. How we doing today? TGIF. Is everybody doing okay? We got Malika, G6, Quentin, Dr. Michelle, blessing for you, Torrance V. Let's get the likes to match the viewers. We got 28 people, 28 wonderful Crimsonites. Let's get 28 wonderful likes. Because we have an important show today. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, dominant man. Hey, June is on. And thank you for the draft. You know, I didn't even watch the draft last night, G6. I had to actually hear about it on the radio because I forgot that the draft was last night. They use, I don't know if the pandemic, Ramadan Mubarak, I don't know if the pandemic stopped in how they were doing the draft, but usually the draft was like, what, 2-3 days? So I don't know if they're doing the continuation of the draft today. But yeah, I heard we got a quarterback moved up in the first round to get a quarterback. Definitely needed a quarterback. Thank you, Jeremy Sears. Hey, Sandra. Okay, no problem, sweetheart. Thank you, Jeremy. Say hello, Kendra and chat. How you doing? Thank you, dominant man. We have an important show today. Hey, Thomas Friday. I have never been to Egypt. I've never been out of the country at all. I would love to go to Egypt. I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to the Middle East for Hajj. So I'll need to go to Mecca. And I want to go to the motherland. I want to go to Ghana because of my the DNA is Ghanaian, or West African rather. Why do you ask, Thomas? Just curious. You gonna take me to Egypt? Hey, Peaceful Pulley. Hey, Artisan, how you doing? Oh, it's a beautiful place, Dominant? Oh, okay. I heard that it was. Oh, you're in Cairo? Oh, okay. How do you like it in Cairo? Like, how do you like the environment there? Yeah, actually, I do want to come to Mecca because I need to do Hajj at some point in my life. It's not incumbent upon me right now because I don't meet the qualifications, but I definitely want to be invited to Allah's house. Okay. So you see the title and you see the thumbnail. Why they show us their deaths. I'm going to read something that pretty much every black person should be familiar with. I'm only going to read an excerpt. You must completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anyone can ride her in comfort. Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand. When it comes to the uncivilized black, use the same process, but vary in degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. This is biology. How to change biology. Take the meanest, most restless male, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining males and the female, the infant, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a horse in opposite direction, beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining group. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining males to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Do not kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. Then take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desire willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of subject matter concerning what we have produced in this breaking process of the female. We have reversed the relationships. In her natural state, she would have a strong dependency on the male, and she would have a limited protective tendency towards independent male offspring and would raise the females to be dependent like her. Nature has provided time with this balance. We have reversed the nature by burning and pulling one male apart and bullwhipping the other in her presence. By her being left alone with the male image destroyed, the ordeal has caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. In this psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and females in reverse roles. For fear of the young man's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train the female to also be psychologically independent. What do you get? The female out in front and the man behind her. This is a perfect situation for good economics. What did I just read? What did I just read? Thank you. Y'all got it. Y'all got what I read. Put in the chat your thoughts. Why do they show us black men's death specifically by police? See, specifically by police. Just about every death of a black man by police in recent years has been captured on video, and that video has circulated either on television or social media. We understand that white people also get shot by the police. They don't just shoot black people, but we don't see other people getting shot. We only see black men getting shot and killed. We witnessed their deaths. The most recent one that we witnessed clearly was George Floyd. They showed us about an 8 to 9 minute snuff film. Now, all of you are correct in what you say, but we're going to go a few layers deeper than simply understanding that they are reasserting the program. Because see, today I'm actually talking to the women directly. Why am I talking to the women directly? Because we talk to the women on Crimson Cure channel, right? I need my sisters to understand beyond a reasonable doubt why you are in the position you are in and the purpose of putting you in this position and keeping you here. See, because people wanted to argue about whether or not the Willie Lynch letter was real. Was there really a guy named William Lynch? Was it really? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether there was a physical person named Willie Lynch who wrote this letter. The important part of it is that it is speaking specifically to how to change the biology part of bioculturon. The actual practical step to changing the biology in order to introduce us and implement within us a value system that does not value us at all. Yet we will implement this system and we will internalize the system because our biology has been altered to accept it. Okay? Because if you remember when I talked about bioculturon, it is a process by which an entire group can be broken, can be enslaved, and can have their entire value system changed in a matter of a generation or two by changing the biology, which means the people, how they think, how they operate, their nature, okay, their morals, their belief systems. But you must also change their culture, social policies, okay, what becomes socially acceptable. But you must also change the environment through law, through legalities. Okay? Then all three must be done simultaneously. All three, or else it doesn't work. It might leave that group dysfunctional, but it won't work to its purpose. I'll give you an example of bioculturon, an attempt to change bioculturon for a group, but was more or less not successful. Y'all want that example? Y'all want to know an example? Y'all want an example? An example of an attempt to change the bioculturon of a people is the Native American. The demise of the Native American. Why do I say it's an attempt? Because that group was the prototype. The biology was changed. The environment was changed. Where they had trouble was culture. They had trouble with culture. They couldn't completely sever the tie between those people and their cultures. Couldn't completely do it. So it broke them, but it also rendered them useless for profit. But they were the prototype, because if you do it and you end up with them, you see why you ended up with them and why it was successful with us and our ancestors. The changing of biology, the separation from the culture completely, and placing us in a new unfamiliar environment. Success. A complete success. Because we were able to be used for the intended purpose, which was free labor. See, it goes much deeper than how we typically think of programming, because it's really not enough to say that we've been programmed or that the programming is being reasserted. Now, is that true? Yes. So let's explore that before we go deeper. Ladies, you are being constantly re-traumatized in the same exact way in which I just read the excerpt for in the Willie Lynch letter. To have your men killed in front of you in brutal fashion, to have their lives snuffed out, to have that moment recorded for posterity, and then circulated so that everyone can see how they're able to take our men in whatever condition, whatever age, whatever mentality. It doesn't matter where he was at or what he was doing. It doesn't matter if he was right or wrong. It doesn't matter if he was resisting arrest or not. Doesn't matter if he had done anything illegal or not. The purpose is to show you specifically that this is an individual upon which you cannot depend, because he is subject to our whim to kill him at any moment. We will draw and quarter him at any moment, in front of you, in front of your children. And we will, by doing this, create you as an independent woman. And you will come to us for all of your provisions and all of your needs, from protection to food to clothing to money. You will come to us for the 4 P's. Okay? You will come to us for protection, provision, problem solving, and procreation. See, we got the answer to that too. We will become the entity upon which you depend. Just don't even think about him, because he can't even save himself. So he's incapable of protecting you and providing for you, because he cannot protect himself from us. But there are even deeper layers. So now that we got the women out of the way, ladies, we got you out of the way. They've got you out of the way. Because through presenting the black male image to you as inadequate, inefficient, unreliable, okay? They put you in a position where you must not only depend on them for everything that you get, but it breeds resentment, because we know we're supposed to be able to look to our men for the 4 P's, not a system. But they've gotten you out of the way because this Willie Lynch letter been circulating around since I was young. And y'all are still running around here talking about you can be black first and hate black men. You're still running around here in a gender war, not understanding the end game of such a war. You're being paid to be out of order. And we're going to explore just how out of order it is. It go beyond twerking in public places. That's the least of your problems. We got a much bigger issue. ask the chat, what's the condition of the collective of Native Americans in this country? What's their condition? Just generally. What is their condition as a people? They broken. What else are they? Well, who else can speak to the overall general condition of the Native Americans? Sad, deplorable, endangered. Endangered. That's an interesting one. When you become endangered, what is the danger, Prada? When a species is endangered, what are they endangered from? Genocide, extinction. So would it be safe to say that the current system, the one that broke them and the one that broke us, is an extinction level event? Because think about endangered animals. This should help you understand the effect of biocultural. And you know I got notes. When we think of it in the animal kingdom, a species of animal becomes endangered of extinction because biology, culture, and environment changes rapidly without giving that species enough time to adapt. So when a species cannot adapt, it is killed off. So when we think of an animal, you can change the biology of an animal by introducing toxins into it, diseases into it, into its food sources, or taking its food sources. That'll change the biology of that animal. But they might not go extinct, right? They might get into a little bit of trouble, but not extinction. The culture of the animal must change because it cannot adapt to the changing conditions around it, or a superior competition is introduced into its environment. Think of like an invasive species. Think of like the Asian carp was introduced into North America, and it's an invasive species of fish. If you change the biology of that animal and the culture of that animal, whereby you may introduce an invasive new species that hunts it, that it's not prepared for, or you change the conditions around it so rapidly that it cannot adapt. And then the third thing is environment. The taking of its land. Usually animals will go extinct by what thing do humans do that forces animals out of its environment into new environments where they might encounter more competition or superior competition and changes their biology. What one thing do humans do that produces this effect for animals? Can you name it? Hunting, not hunting, the destroyed habitat, deforestation. Humans will deforest and thereby destroy the natural habitat of any group of animals, which forces them out. That's the taking of the land away from the animal, which forces them into new environments. You know what I've been seeing a lot of when I start driving real early in the morning? I see a lot of coyotes. A lot of coyotes. Like a lot of coyotes. Big coyotes. Big, I'm gonna eat that little Pomeranian in your yard coyote. And the only reason why I'm seeing coyotes in the city like that, just kind of roaming around, is because the biology and their environment and the culture has changed. They're being forced away from the forest preserve areas by human beings and forcing them out into the more urban areas where they cannot hunt and they can't really compete. Did that help you all understand the function of bioculturon when you want to control or break a group of people? I thought using the animal would be a little bit more like, oh, light bulb moment. Okay. Thank you, the Revelator, for the cash app. Good. I'm glad that helped you all understand what I'm talking about. So just translate that into us and into the Native American. Think of them as the prototype and us as the successful experiment. That prototype experiment failed, but the failure produced the success, as failure often does. If you're persistent and you fail, you eventually will succeed because you'll start studying why it failed. So they were broken. The land was taken more or less because they live on reservations now. The environment was changed. The culture was the sticking point for them. That's just my armchair theory. The culture was the sticking point because they marginalized them on the land, but it was still their land. And they were still familiar with it. And they were still familiar with their language and their cultures. that wasn't taken from them and it couldn't be successfully changed. So it made it where you're broken, but you're too broken for us to use you the way we were trying to use you. But now we see why. So with another group of people, it'll be a success because we will be able to change them via bioculture, and now we'll do it successfully because that sticking point with that culture, we're going to wipe that out. And we're going to replace it with our value system. Only problem is for them, our value system doesn't value them. How to make us extinct. Because before I get into it, how many people in here in this room right now think that we're headed towards extinction as a group of black people in this country? Do you even think that's where we headed? 1 for yes, 2 for no. D. Felder said we in the beginning stages. Everybody says yes. So if we truly believe that the system under which we labor eventually will make us extinct because it is an extinction level event, why do we continue to participate in this system? I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to think about that as we talk, because I'm only going to talk about biology today. I'm going to try. But bioculture is intertwined, so that might not work. But I'm going to give you an outline real quick. How to make a group go away, go bye-bye, extinct. Through biology, you have to stop their capacity to breed. Stop them from breeding. What stops us from breeding? I want to see if you can come up with a couple of things. What stops us from breeding with each other? What stops us from gaining numbers? I want to see, can y'all come up with it? With at least just a couple. Death, incarceration, prison, abortion. What else? Feminism, abortion. Abortion and gender war. Hating each other. Biological warfare, science experiments, gender animosity. No sex, male termination turned the women against the men. Choosing to engage in the gender war. Most of you got it. to stop us. You know I got my notes. Eugenics, disease, birth control, abortion, the gender war, male and female separations, and gender transformation. Eugenics, disease, birth control, abortion, the gender war, and gender transformation. Actually, with that, eugenics, birth control, and abortion goes underneath those. Because Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist. This is also the founder of Planned Parenthood, which you find in every neighborhood, every black neighborhood in the urban inner cities, in every major metropolitan area in America. Ironic that a place called Planned Parenthood is an abortion clinic. Y'all see the little mind screw they like to do with you? I mean, how sick is it to name basically an abortion clinic? They do other services in there, but let's be real. They named that place Planned Parenthood as if you were gonna be a parent outside of that. Hey, Bunker. You would name a fertility clinic Planned Parenthood. Not an abortion clinic. Wouldn't you name a fertility clinic Planned Parenthood because people coming in there to plan the parenthood? The disease that they inject in us, this bad health, this bad quality of food, actually affects our fertility rates. Then we have male and female separation. I told you that breeds resentment. Showing you women, I'm talking to us, showing us the killing of our men makes us psychologically independent, and then that breeds contempt and resentment. We often talk about in this space the undercurrent, current, or low running, background program running contempt that black women have for black men. That is where it comes from. Okay? Because when he is broken in front of you and then you are forced to be with him in the ghettos, in the hoods, in the cities, where you're economically pinned in, you begin to have contempt for him and resentment for him. It's just the way it is. And they know that, which is why they did it. So that's where the underlying contempt for black men actually comes from. Because we get reintroduced to the breaking process of them. Just modernized, quote unquote. And not really, though. It's just as brutal as it was before. Watching a man slowly suffocate by having his chest and neck compressed for nearly 10 minutes, might as well just say 10 minutes, is a demoralizing thing to see. Because I'm not even talking about the trauma effect that it have on black men watching it. I ain't even touched that. I'm just talking about the effect it have on the collective of women. That's a whole completely different show. To talk about the effect that it have on men. Okay? So we get reintroduced to this process, which does reinforce the so-called programming, but this is why I'm going deeper than that, because it's deeper than that. So in order to make a group extinct, you first work on the biology, which is you stop their capacity to breed. And I listed 5 ways that they put roadblocks and obstacles for us in that area. Eugenics, disease, birth control, abortions, the gender war, and gender transformation. Thank you, Bishop. Says salute, Katie, the Crimsonites. You always breaking it down so eloquently to us teaching. Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. Now, how do you do it for culture? What do you do to a group's culture in order to get them just that much closer to extinction? They are no longer able to survive in changing conditions, or there is superior competition, and or. How do they produce that? Through fatherlessness, homelessness, joblessness, lack of education, and being ostracized. Okay? They achieve it through those areas. When you can't survive in changing conditions. If you fatherless, this takes away your the good development as a child. And they know that whatever you go through in your formative years helps to shape what kind of adult you're going to be and what kind of thought processes you're going to have, how you're going to interact, how you're going to socialize, and whether or not these things are going to be successful and conducive to you being successful throughout your life, or if they're going to hinder you. So fatherlessness, homelessness, which speaks to poverty, joblessness, and lack of education, being uneducated. Now, this is really directed at black men. This stuff. Because you gotta take him and make him ineffective. And you make black men ineffective by making them ineffective boys. Not having a father is a huge deal. Huge. Homelessness, dealing with poverty. Joblessness, again with poverty, not really able to survive. This is how they make you not survive. Because they created a capitalistic place. And you can't survive without capital. So they restrict the avenues of you actually accruing capital in order to take care of yourself. Uneducated. I've talked at length at times about the public school system, and then we know about the school to prison pipeline as well. And then you're ostracized. Black men are ostracized, really out of society. They're not really welcome anywhere. Nobody is happy to see a black man coming. There's no sector in this country aside from privatized prisons and court systems that like to see a black man coming. And the only reason they like to see you coming over there is because that's the only way that you have value. You got to be making them some money. And, you know, they bootlegly call themselves can't put you in the field. Bootleg, because when you get in prison, they do put you in the field. But that's another conversation. So that's how they achieve cultural extinction. And then finally, environmental extinction is the taking of land through the relation of living organisms to one another and their physical surrounding. Take the land, forcing them to go into other places and deal with other people. The relation is broken. It's unsteady. And it's a change to the physical surrounding that they might not survive in. And one of the key ways that they do that is through gentrification. I just wanted to give y'all the outline. We're going back to biology because that's what I want to focus on for the ladies today. Because this concerns us greatly, the biological extinction, and the reason why it concerns women greatly for the biological extinction is because we bring life into the world. We are the gateway to new life into the world via our wombs. But if you damage the womb, remove the womb, or make the womb sick, it can't perform that job. They destroy the vessel so that life can't come through it anymore, sisters. They gotta psychologically destroy the vessel first. That's that independent, that strong and independent stuff. Which we can see where that even comes from. That comes from fear and insecurity. Us going and participating in grand fashion with two things: abortion and the wholesale support of the LGBT community, specifically the T's. And for anyone listening that might be actually part of the LGBT community, you do what you want to do. I don't have no heat or no judgment. However, we are going to talk about the effect of supporting it in a large scale. And we're going to talk about that from a biological standpoint. Because even if we want to say that alternative lifestyles, we'll just use that term, was something that was naturally occurring, it will only be naturally occurring in very, very, very small percentages because it goes against the prime directive of life, which is to continue to live, to survive, to procreate. And for that, there's only one avenue. Thank you, Ruminant. So that's why hysterectomies are the standard treatment for any BW feminine medical problem. Yes. Definitely. They don't really treat us for uterine issues. They just take your whole uterus out. Let's go to the disease. We get disease mostly from our diet. And the ladies will recall that in this space, there's a lot of talk about overweight black women and black women not looking good, and, you know, the weight and the health being an issue. But let's take it away from aesthetics and let's bring it over into health. The reason why we're so obese is because of the diet that we are consuming. I'm not going to start preaching about diet. Do not start preaching about diet, because then you'll go into keto, and then you'll go into carbs and calories and insulin resistance. And okay, don't do it. Okay, so it's the food which introduces disease into the body. Any animal that has consistent or chronic diseases within the body become ineligible to procreate in nature. In nature, if an animal is physically deficient, wounded, sick, unable to participate in its own survival, does not get to procreate. If you have a pride of lions and one of the lionesses become too ill, or she gains some sort of injury that prevents her from participating in the hunt, that prevents her from really participating in the pride, the male lion will not mate her. Did y'all realize that? The male, the alpha lion, he won't mate her. And what she usually does is excuse herself from the pride so that she can go off somewhere and pass away. So my point is that in nature, if any animal is unable, is some type of physical deformity, some type of physical issue, you know, that precludes them from doing what they have to do in order to survive, they don't actually get to procreate. See, in nature, procreation is fought for. The right to pass your genes down is fought for, literally. I watch a whole bunch of nature documentaries, and a lot of them are like Africa and stuff like that, and they deal with lions a lot, and you get to see the behavior of the pride. That's where I got that. Sick lionesses can't participate in the pride. Because the name of the game is survival. You gotta fight for your right to procreate. And if you gotta fight, then you have to be healthy enough to fight. Can't be sick and fighting. You're gonna die. That's why a male lion won't even challenge the alpha male if he doesn't think he can take him. He gotta believe that he's big enough and strong enough. Maybe he's eating a little more aggressive, then he can kill that other male and take the pride. But if he's woefully ill prepared for that, he will not even attempt. He won't attempt the challenge. Thank you, Big Cheese, for the cash out. But we as human beings, we have the science for cheat codes, right? So we get to procreate even when we're not in good health. But the only problem with it is we having a lot of sex, but we not having a lot of kids. One is for abortion. Two is for infertility issues, which is brought about by bad health, which is brought about by bad diet. Are y'all following me? Are y'all following where this is going? Through the psychological programming of feminism and the gynocracy, the male and female have been split socially, i.e. the gender war. So we're separate socially. That was the function of feminism and then the gynocracy. I told you that feminism is the child of white supremacy. I told you that. Now we understand why I say that. For its purpose. It is performing its intended purpose to socially distance the black man from the black woman, to create mistrust, resentment, and contempt between the two, making the women see the men as the enemy. And through a bunch of treacherous activity, the men now have mistrust of the women and see them as the enemy. So you're not going to get together if I see you as the enemy. This also ties into the evolution of the relationships from a leadership to a partnership, to a followership, to an opponentship. The opponentship is the end goal, because that's what you'll have when two people are stuck together that can't stand each other. We already have generations of young men and women that say they not gonna have no kid at all, never. And the ones who are getting pregnant, it's a smaller and smaller percentage of them women that's actually giving birth. The most of us are going to Planned Parenthood to take care of it. So how are we supposed to combat being driven to extinction through biological means when we participate in our own extinction? We participating. We willingly participating in it. Now let's talk about gender transformation, which is nothing more than a spay and a neutering. Gender reassignment surgery is a spay and a neuter. And the ladies, you have supported it. We're going to talk about this from a biological standpoint. Again, I am not trying to be judgmental on anybody's lifestyle or what you do behind closed doors, but we are going to talk about it through biology. Because gender reassignment surgery, you got to take the plumbing out in order to create the cosmetic look, the anatomical look. You got to remove that. If you have female to male gender reassignment surgery, they got to take your uterus out and your ovaries because it produces estrogen. The uterus and your ovaries don't care about your gender dysmorphia. Because your uterus and your ovaries are just doing what the organs do. It don't got nothing to do with you thinking you was born in the wrong body. The ovaries and all of it is a gland. It's gonna produce the estrogen that your biologically female body needs. It's gonna keep having a period and all kind of stuff. So in order to perform a completed gender reassignment surgery, they got to take that out of there. That's being spayed. That's why you will see some of them say, I want to have a biological child before that surgery, because they know they got to get it taken out. And then they got to try to construct you a penis out of the remaining genitalia that you have. If we going from male to female, same thing. If we're going to do gender reassignment surgery, male to female, we got to take that toolbox. Can't have that toolbox. Your testes are producing what every day? Not only are they producing sperm every day, but it's producing testosterone. It's not enough to just take the frank. You got to take the beans too. You can't just take the frank. You got to take them beans. They got to do a whole castration. We're going to have to take the beans. Okay? And cut your vas deferens and all of that. You can't be producing that. So that's a neutering. All to create the anatomical look of being a female. But they can't put a womb in there. They just take stuff out. They don't put stuff in. They don't take nothing. They don't put nothing in. They just takes it out. That's all that the process is, a removal. It's not an integration. They're not putting wombs in there. And they gotta neuter you because your testicles aren't gonna know that you have gender dysmorphia. They just gonna produce what they produce, which is sperm and testosterone. And ladies, we have, on the whole, as a group, supported that, which has participated in our biological extinction. Because that's where this is going. That's where all of this is culminating into. It's going right over there to extinction. And if you don't believe it, look at the Native Americans. They're all but gone. You don't see Native Americans like you see other ethnic groups just around in the city. Even in highly mixed cities, you don't see them because they're in reservations being controlled. So I wanted to come to the ladies today to really talk to you all about why they really showing us the death of our men. We should be outraged. Instead, we've got black women making it a cash grab, Patrice Kahn colors. Profiteering off of the death and destruction of black men for the world to see. We really should be outraged, but we're not. I need the ladies to wake up. Wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. You are participating in your own extinction. You heard what that letter said. If you don't submit all the way, you get the lash too. He don't love you. You're just a tool. And when he done with that, he gonna break you too. Because you already got your men talking about SYSBM and they don't date black women. It's a lot of young men that's like, I don't date black women. If I have a family, I ain't going to be with a black woman. I'm not going to do that. That's problematic. That's more problematic than you think. Anyway, see how that took up the time? I wasn't going to be able to get through the three of them, but I did want to broach cultural extinction and environmental extinction as well. We might get to talk about that at a later date. But I want the ladies to sound off in the comments. Why do you think they show us the deaths of our men? It's almost sensationalized. Like a movie premiere. They can't wait to report it. And the body cam footage and, you know, just show, like they can't wait to show. And they put it under the guise of, well, we trying to figure out exactly what happened. If you were trying to figure out exactly what happened, you would show the family the body cam footage, but no, you post it on social media for everybody to pass it around. And it's a reason for that. So I want to hear the ladies' opinions. Why do they show us the death of our men? Why do you think they do it? This show has been brought to you by A-Game, a male herbal solution. with 21 wonderful herbs that are designed to address a man's blood flow, which increases his strength, his energy, his vitality, and his libido. So for all the guys, I need you to go into the description box and click the link for A Game. Let's support the sponsor. Let's support the brothers in this space and support their health. Go into the description box and click the link for A Game at agameherbal.com, and you get a 10% discount if you use the code Kendra10 at checkout. That's KENDRA and the number 10. And ladies, by all means, do the same for your men, the men in your lives. All right. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank everyone for coming through. I want to thank everyone for contributing. The cash apps and the super chats is much, much appreciated. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.